Hello and welcome. Good day everywhere you are. Today we'll be talking about RIP. Greetings everywhere you are. Hope the day has been wonderful. I'm so excited that finally we are kicking off. So we are kicking off with RIP. Like I said in my first video, RIP is not really tested on the new CCIE enterprise infrastructure, but we'll just look at it, basic overview and initialization of RIP, and we'll speed up from there. So RIP basically had two versions. We had version 1, we had RIP version 2, which was an improvement of RIP version 1. RIP version 1 utilized broadcast messages to send routing updates, while version 2 utilized multicast to send what? Routing updates. And for version 2, the multicast address it's used to send this routing update is 224.0.0.9. So what are the things that you need to know about RIP? Okay, number one, RIP is it is a distance vector protocol. RIP is distance vector, meaning it will send its information to its neighbor. So if we have router 1 connected to router 2, we only know the details that router 1 has sent to it. Details. If I can write L here, if I can write L well here today. Okay, RIP is distance vector, and basically also RIP does auto summarization. We'll take a look at what that can cost you, and by the time we are implementing RIP, we take a look at that. We take a look at what the network statement means. So to initialize RIP, it's really simple. You go to the global configuration mode and you say router RIP. So if we had a router like this, of course we'll still go to the lab in a short while. If we had a connection like this, and this is 10.1.12, which is exactly what you are going to be having in the lab, and here is .1.2, and I have another network here, 1.1.1.0/24. This is exactly the scenarios that we have in the lab. So when you initialize this, you are going to say what? Network 10.0.0.0. When you say that, what you are saying is, for any interface, this has two repercussions. One, any interface on this router that has an IP address of 10, that is starting with 10 dot anything, will, number one, we listens for what? RIP updates. And then number two, it will also, that network also will be advertised to other what? To other RIP routers. Okay, that is the job of the what? Network statement. But what of in a situation where you have a connection like this, there is in your local LAN that you don't want to run RIP here, but you still want to advertise this network to router 2. that is where this guy comes in handy. You can configure this interface as a passive interface. When you configure an interface as a passive interface, what you are saying is, on this interface, I am disabling what? Listening or sending RIP updates. But however, I will continue to advertise that network. That is what the passive interface does. So let us quickly get into the lab and see. Right now I have this topology. This is a sniper clip of my EVNG and the files, the routers that I have in the lab. That's what we are going to be using for this class. I hope you are as excited as I am. Let us get these routers kicking. All right, start off with router 1. Show IP routes, include connected. So these are all the routes that this router goes about. So to check, are we running any protocols? Am I running any protocols? I think this is is it still running RIP? Okay. All right, we have cleared the router of any RIP configurations that it had before. I've used it to teach you before, so I didn't know that some of the routers we are still running RIP actively. So how do we initialize this? We start with the statement router RIP, and here we get to pick the version. We don't want to run version 1, so we'll say version 2. And now we have to tell which networks that we want to advertise for RIP. So I want to advertise the network 10.0.0.0. Enter network command. Enter, and the network 1.1.1.1. So now that we have that, I'm going to pause. Okay, let me do that, the same thing here. Do show IP routes include connected. So same thing, router RIP, we say is version 2, and we say network 10.0.0.0. Enter. We also say network 2.0.0.0. Say enter. So I will pause and get RIP initialized everywhere. It's the same command. The only thing that will change is that for router share will be typing RIP router RIP version 2 network 10.0.0.0, seeing that everything we have here is in the 10 network. So 10.10.10.10.0 and network 3.3.3.3.0. The same thing for 4. The same thing for 5, the same thing for 6. So let me pause the video right now. I'll be back when I have finished initializing it. You know what? I'm not pausing. Let us do it together. Let me see how fast I can type. Let us configure all of this network version 2. Let me see network. Go for the phone. Go to out of 5. Node interface router read, pick a version 2. Talk about the network we want to advertise. Like I told you what the network statement does. Okay. Let's see. IP route. Let's see if our RIP routes are. Yeah, voila. We have our RIP routes propagated. Notice, great notice here that this route, take a look at this route, is giving us what? A summary route. It is summarizing to the major network. That is what auto summary does. That is the job of auto summary. Once it is crossing a major network boundary, let me get my pen here. Delete all my scribbles. So I have a network. I have a network here. The network is 1.1.1.0/24. Once that network is being sent to router 2, crossing a major network boundary, it will RIP will summarize if auto summary is enabled. If auto summary has been enabled, this route will be summarized to 1.0.0.0/8 because it is what? Crossing a major subnet, being what? 10.1.12.0/24. But all the other 10 networks that was propagated, because they were not passing through a major subnet. Take a look at all the 10 networks. All their subnets were what? Kept. They were not summarized to 10.0.0.0.8. Instead, they were what? Sent as what? Their original state. They are sent with the original state. So what do we do? What can this thing cause? So let Let me explain a little bit here. So imagine that we had this route 1.1.1.1 here, and we had another route down here 1.4.4/24. We had this, let's call it a subnet. So now this guy will advertise, because of auto summarization, this route will also be summarized as 1.0.0.0/24 slash, not slash 24, sorry, /8. So now we now have what? An issue. If router 3 wants to reach the network 1.1.1.0/24, because RIP uses a metric of hop counts. Yeah, we have not talked about metric and administrative distance. Basically, this is the way that RIP will decide out of 2 RIP routes which route is better, and administrative distance is the router will decide between 2 routing protocols. What am I writing? Between 2 routing protocols, which one to what choose. So that RIP uses what? Hop count. So now router 3 has gotten a route with a hop count of what? 2. Hop count simply means how many routers do you go before you get to that. So for the network 1.0.0/8 from router 1, he will go 1 hop count and then 2 hop count. But also he gets also another summary route from this guy for 1.0.0.8 with a hop count of what? 1. But notice that this guy only has the network. Notice that this guy only has the network 1.4.4.0/24, and now auto summary has actually created what? A black hole for us in our what? A traffic black hole in our network, because router 3 will forward all traffic heading to 1.1.1, basically all this traffic all the way down here. Why this guy does not even have a route for this traffic? So what do we say for auto summary? Like the great Jeremy Charawa will say, you auto not use it. So what do? We go to the routing protocol. We go to the routing protocol here. Okay. Let me use my notepad to configure this. Say router RIP, no auto, and no auto means no auto summary. So I will just paste this here. I'll paste it here. Hit enter. I'll paste this here. Right there. I'll paste this here. Hit enter. I'll paste this here. Hit enter. Paste this here. Enter. And last but not the least, on router 1, go to router 7 here, and voila, our routes are no longer coming in as what summary routes. They are now coming in the way they are meant to what come in, the way they were originally what advertised, because we have disabled what auto summary. So far so good. We have covered an overview of RIP. We have covered can pick a color here. Okay, we have covered overview of RIP. Is a distance vector protocol. We have seen me initialize it, told you what the network statement does. Now we'll look at what passive interface. Check my time over here. We have to stop this. Okay, we have about 8 minutes, 5 more minutes for this video. Okay, all right, so passive interface, how does it work? Grab my pen. Okay, I think I explained it before in the beginning of this video. Yeah, I did. So we simply just, let's say we now have this as a link into our LAN, our local LAN. This is R2. So we want to advertise this network, but we do not want to receive. Remember what the network statement does. The network statement does what? One, advertises that subnet into RIP, and number two, what? Listens for what? RIP, and also listens and sends RIP updates. So to stop this interface from sending any kind of update, we configure it to be what? A passive interface. So how do we configure an interface to be a passive interface? And after that, that will be the end of this video. Hang with me on this, we're almost through. See, router RIP. Let's see. Passive interface for router 7. Let's look at our diagram topology here. So we want to do a passive interface on this interface. So we'll do that. Say passive interface with Ethernet 0/1. Mistake that share, and that is that. We have just what? Passive that interface, and that is how you do a passive interface on RIP. So right about now we have covered basic overview of RIP, rounding up basic overview of RIP. So now you know that RIP had versions, version 1 and version 2. Version 1 will send all of its routing table as what? A broadcast. while version 2 sent all of its own as what? Multicast. Version 1 was all a classful. This version 1, this version 2 is actually rule 9. Version 1 is classful. It's a classful protocol. Version 2 is what? Classless. And the multicast address of router 2 sends its own routing update is what? 224.0.0.0.9. We saw that RIP uses a metric known as what? Hop count, and an administrative distance of what? 120. So that will be all for now. The thing that is remaining now for RIP is auto summarization. We also saw the effects of what? Auto summarization, and how we can what? Fix that, because auto summarization can easily, very easily, give us what? A traffic black hole in our network. So the two things remaining that will be coming up on a later video will be authentication and what? Summarization. Thank you, and I hope this video has been informative for you. And I'd like to thank you.